Hi everyone! Today I'm going to talk about 4 common ways to ship products from China by sea. Sea freight is a shipping method that a lot of customers prefer to use because of its relatively cheap cost. So now let's discuss more details here. The first common way that people use is buy FOB from your supplier and handle freight and import. This is what most importers do. It is what people usually consider the standard way of getting products out of China. Just like the same way that the 30% to 70% payment terms are considered pretty standard too. Here is how it works. The supplier has to process the export out of China. The buyer doesn't have to deal with that hassle at all, and the supplier is nearly assured they can get the VAT rebate if they present the right paperwork. The buyer is in control of international freight and then local transportation after the ship's arrival. That's usually a good thing, but maybe not always a great thing when the cost of moving containers is really high, like multiplied by 4 or more. In this case, the buyer usually sends the final payment to the supplier after a past final inspection, before shipment, or if possible, after the shipment. In which case, the supplier only releases the set of documents after they got the payment. So it is relatively balanced. This doesn't mean it is necessarily the best approach for your business. So there are 3 other ways to ship products from China that you can consider. The second way is buy DDP or DDU from your supplier. Your supplier may be able to do more than FOB. They might be able to work with a freight forwarder, sometimes called a 3PL or third-party logistics provider, and sell the products to you door to door under delivered duty unpaid, or often more convenient, delivered duty paid. The timing of the final payment for the goods is often unchanged, after final inspection or after shipment. It is more convenient for the buyer. However, the buyer lost visibility and control. This is something you may only want to try with a reliable supplier. As a side note here, we usually don't advise buying products under CIF terms because there are a lot of cases where the price looked good until the buyer found the so-called buyer side charges were excessively high. So do not fall into this trap. Okay, next, the third way is to have a third party do consolidation plus preparation in their facility and then shipment. In some cases, the buyer doesn't want to ship the goods directly out of their supplier's factories, especially if the goods will be delivered straight to their customer or distributor. A relatively common service, named Amazon Prep Service, has developed in recent years, but many non-Amazon sellers also find value in having a third party receive, check, repack, consolidate, and ship their goods. It is usually done as a service. The third party gets paid for value-added services. In some cases, they buy and resell the goods, and in that case, I call that a value-added procurement. The problem with most freight forward is the workers in their warehouse are used to moving cartons, not paying attention to the quality that much. So you might have to look for a professional third-party service provider here if you choose this way. Okay, the last way is have a third party keep products from different suppliers. There is a special case that calls for a special solution. If you need the products or parts to come from different factories and be packed together, you need to adjust your supply chain accordingly. For example, you can have your supplier A get the goods from your suppliers B and C, but in many cases, that's not desirable. You might not want your suppliers to get to know each other. Supplier A might not do a great job at repacking, or supplier B might blame supplier A for quality issues, and so on. In those cases, what is the solution? It is usually to have suppliers A, B, and C deliver all of their products to a third party that will do the kitting and repacking before shipping. They might also do quality inspections too if you want. As I mentioned above, this can be done as a service or as a buy and resell transaction. There are many individual cases depending on what the supplier can accept, whether the supplier collected VAT, etc. I also need to mention here, there's another special case. If some of the products or parts come from outside China, doing the kitting and repacking is easier and faster if you do that in a free trade zone, such as that of Shenzhen. Note here, the same approach is usually needed if you want to have a batch of defective products repaired in China. Okay, that's all we have for today for the sea freight. Thank you for your attention, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button here. We will see you in our next video.